decided to be doing a viewer request. So I've had a request to do kind of a comparison video between a Wetterlings straud bushcraft axe and a Hults Bruk Akka. Well, actually, I think what the viewer asked was a Hults Abbey, but as some of the viewers may know, the Hults and the Hults Bruk are very similar. In fact, I believe they mostly just put a different name on their axes. So anyways, so I will be in the US, primarily we have the Hults Bruk, and I believe in Sweden and maybe Europe, they do the Hults brand name. But anyways, let me go ahead and get on. So I've got 4 axes laid out here, and what I want to go ahead and I'm going to point out just 2 of these other axes because they're kind of in a similar design. So if you've watched some of our other videos, you know how much, you know that I'm a big fan of both the straud, the bushcraft, as well as the Akka. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, obviously personal preference. But what brings my personal preference to liking this variety of axe is the fairly light head. At 1.5 pounds, it's a fairly light head for the 24 to 22 inch handle. And to me, it just makes for a nice well-rounded axe. It is got a long enough handle to do some actually serious chopping or getting into some limbing or that kind of thing. The longer handle gives you a little bit more reach, a little bit stronger swing. So if you need to put the muscle into it, you can get to some of the larger chopping jobs. And yet, with that 1.5 pound head, it leaves it light enough to swing around agilely, and you've got a lot of control, and just get into tight spaces and that kind of thing. Now, as we look into them, let me go ahead and point out what I have on the table. So this is the straud or bushcraft axe by Wetterlings, and you can kind of get a look for that. And then this right here is the Hults Bruk Akka, and you can get a look for that. Alright, then I also have laid out here a 7 Pines kind of a bushcraft axe, and I actually got with him and requested that Mr. Ted do this design, and so it's also got a very similar head design due to my request. And then I've also put out here a 24-inch woodcraft, and mostly I did that just because to me it functions somewhat similar. When I'm using them, I get a similar type feel. The design is not 100%, so I'll just go over a few pointers. And for the most part, I threw this in there because my personal preference is I feel similar while I'm using it. I'm going to lay it aside because if you want to see a review on this, check out the review that I actually did, and that's kind of cool. Alright. Now, the 7 Pines forge is, due to the availability on the straud, it may definitely be something for people to consider. It has the little bit of a pull on the back, something that the Akka does not have. And really, I'm going to be doing a review on it, so make sure subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications, because if you are interested in either the straud or the Akka, you're going to be wanting to see the review on this 7 Pines. But I'm going to set it aside for just a minute. I'll bring it back into a final comparison, really hold them up together so you can see how they compare. But I want to focus primarily on the 2 that the viewer requested. And I'm going to hold them up. The main difference, there are a lot of similarities. If I hold this up here so you can kind of see, there's a lot of similarities in the 2 of them. They've got kind of it's not really a clip point beard, but it is a little bit. And you've definitely got enough room here behind the beard on both of them to choke up and get plenty of control for doing those bushcraft things. Another reason that I really like this design on both of these is they have a fairly wide overall blade. And when I say that, it's not real wide, and in fact on the Akka it's a little bit thinner overall, especially when you get down here to the head. So even though they're the same size head, the Akka picks up a little bit of extra weight, maybe here, But you can see it's fairly wide all the way down. This is what I'm talking about. So that gives you your strength in your blade, and yet it's got a fairly long grind to the bevel. And a fairly long grind means that the angle is a little less. So to me, you get more of that bite to it. So some people like that bite, some people like the little bit of a rounded, you know, and a lot of the Hults Bruk actually do have more of a rounded type of grind, or a convex grind. These bite real well. Now there's always a concern if you've got a little bit more bite that maybe they'll be a little bit less durable. The thing I like is that you've got the strength out here. So I have not found or had, you know, many customers or anything with that concern one bit on these. So again, I'm liking that design. You have the durability of the wider blade out here and yet a little bit thinner here. So, you know, the idea is you could get a little bit chipping. Once again, it's good quality steel. I've seen very little of that. This to me is just the ideal design on an axe if you're trying to get just one bushcraft all-around axe. Obviously it's not going to fit everybody, it's not going to fit all of my needs, but it's a wonderful combination of an axe. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I'll go ahead and hold, before I do, I'll go ahead and hold these up so you can see. On this 7 Pines, it's going to have a little bit heavier head, and that doesn't show off real well to me. And what I mean by that is just, in the little bit that I have used it, I don't notice the balance being bad. It still feels like a good balance. So when I get to my review, I'll kind of show that, but you can see it's a little bit wider up here. It really is a closer match to the straud. So, you know, just keep that in mind. It's hand forged in the US, and that is cool. The Hults Bruk, of course, is hand forged in Sweden. Got to love that. Good Swedish steel. Of course, the Wetterlings was hand forged in Sweden. So, very sad day, of course, when all of the Wetterlings are not being produced anymore, but especially sad to see that straud go with a bushcraft axe. So make sure check out our other videos. Going to be doing some other reviews. Ring the bell if you have any specific axes that you want us to review, or that you want us to compare. Feel free, shoot us a message. Ring the bell so that you're notified, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.